We back. Well, that was frustrating. Our prayers have been answered. Sorry about that, folks. It looks like my streaming software was just like, hey, there's a new version of the streaming software out. You should download it immediately. And that's basically what happened. Yeah, you guys summoned me. You did it. You manifested me. How we doing, folks? Sorry about that. I'm sure we lost like half the people who were watching. You hacked too much time. I did. Um, well, folks, I've been streaming for like 5 hours. If you've been enjoying the stream so far, consider dropping some subs or donos. To give you more context, though, about the story we were just talking about. Go. All the things back. So there was that story was picked up then by the New York Post. Mississippi girl 13 gives birth after being raped, unable to get abortion. And we then come to the real crux of it, which is this response by an absolute demon. And I mean that in the fullest sense of the word. Seth Dillon, he's the person who owns the conservative comedy website Babylon Bee, quote tweeted this article about, again, a 13-year-old girl who was raped, being forced to give birth. He says, she could always dress him in a should have been aborted onesie so no one ever mistakenly thinks he's wanted. I've known people who are adults now, but when they were children under the age of consent, had babies. Many of them did wind up loving those children. You know, the children they had as children. But the process of having that baby almost killed many of them. It utterly destroyed their lives. They weren't able to socialize with other kids anymore because they had a baby. So a lot of these kids who wind up having kids, they want those kids. But they don't want to be pregnant and they don't want to be giving birth. Not when they're 12, 11, 10, 13. They don't want that. Many of them don't even know what that is. And adults around them, if they're pro-life, will be like, "Oh, you'll be fine, sweetie. We'll make sure you'll get through this just okay."
Subs for the spoopies.
But ultimately, no. Kids who go through the process of giving birth are at risk, at a great risk of death. I cannot accurately say what I think of Seth Dillon. Rape is tragic, but so is punishing a baby for his father's crime. I'd like to not apologize for angering the death cult. 1.1 million views on this tweet, by the way. Only 824 likes. Mocking a girl who was raped and forced to birth her rapist's child seems very unchristian of you. Not mocking, disingenuous of you. I'm sorry. There's literally like a pregnant belly, and this story is about a 13-year-old who was forced to give birth after being raped because of anti-abortion laws. And his joke was literally about her and how she should dress him. So, yes, it is, in fact, mocking a 13-year-old who was raped and forced to give birth to the rapist's child. Dude, that is cold and callous. Isn't that sort of the point? How cold and callous are we to life? And more importantly, the creator of life, God. Fuck you. In a just world, anyone saying this in response to this story would be punched immediately by an ethereal arm stretching from God himself. Fuck you. Yeah, you owned that 13-year-old rape victim. Real good, man. I don't know, dude. Anyone whose response to this is even remotely similar to like what Seth Dillon wrote. I don't know. Look, this is why I say every now and again that some of the people that we fight against, that we organize against, that we are out trying to do things against, this is why I say that they are sometimes legitimately evil. They are legitimately evil. If somebody is saying, hey, not only am I not sorry for making fun of a 13-year-old rape victim who was forced to give birth because of laws I supported, they are evil. Not in like a mamby-pamby, oh, like, you know, there's like a, you know, there's a good angel and a bad angel, and they're just listening to their bad angel. No, they're legitimately evil. There is no one that I can even imagine who would say something like this about a child who is not evil. There is no universe in which he goes home at the end of the day and he's just a good all-around family man who is like just really sympathetic. He's a real sympathetic character. No, like this is the type of person who like goes home and like beats their kids and beats their wife. Okay? That's just satire, by the way. I'm just making a little jokey joke here about how, you know, someone who could make fun of a 13-year-old rape victim might act. You know, it's a really cutting satire about Seth Dillon. You know, he seems real concerned with the, again, as he put it, tragic reality of rape. Um, but I don't know. Satirically, I would say that Seth Dillon should probably not be trusted around children. I would say that satirically. See, I'm satirizing right now the fact that I think Seth Dillon is probably not a safe person to look after children, especially if like it's just Seth Dillon in a room with like no cameras and there's one other child and he's cornered. I just don't think that's a good idea. Satirically, it's all satire. It's all just jokes, guys. It's all just jokes. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. One of the things I hate most about this story, aside from the fact that a 13-year-old got raped and was forced to give birth, I hate that Seth Dillon loves how angry he made people. He did his job. He made people angry. Good job. What a clever little boy. But I would just hazard this. That like not only does Seth Dillon love that he made people angry, Seth Dillon loves when these stories come around because he can make people angry. Like, he's the kind of guy who sees a story about this and he goes, I can make people angry. I can use this story to own the libs. Because again, to people like Seth Dillon, owning the libs is the #1 priority in life. Nothing else matters. If you can make the libs angry, well, then you did a good job. So when he looks at this story, a normal person looks at a news story like this, they're like, holy shit, that is awful. We need to do something so that things like this don't happen. We need to have like, and if they do happen, we need to have like a way that children aren't being forced to give birth. That's a normal person response. Seth Dillon's response to stories like this is to look at it and be like, that child was raped. I can use that to own the libs. And I'm not saying that satirically. I'm saying that that is actually his thought process. They delight in the evil that they have created. He is a demon. And there's nothing really further constructive I can do about this or say about it other than the fact that this is what we organize against. When I implore you guys to get involved with Progressive Victory, when I talk about getting involved in politics, when I talk about writing letters to your senators, when I talk about getting involved in getting out the vote to make sure that people like this aren't in power, it is to oppose evil people who want you to suffer, not even necessarily because it gets them any material goods, but just because you are who you are, or you are what you are. They want you to suffer because that suffering makes them feel good. So just keep that in the back of your heads whenever we talk about getting involved in politics, because monsters are real, and they're out there, and one of them is named Seth Dillon. Clearly. Hello, Uncensored Opinion. I want to get into politics. We need to inject young blood in the fight. Absolutely. Yeah, and honestly, if it's God's will to force children to give birth to their rapists' babies, that's an evil god who should be fought, frankly. Hey, Speak Minds. Like full on JRPG, get in the van, we're killing God. Whew. All right. Well, there we go. I did it. Always love your passion. Well, I try to be honest with how I'm feeling. We all need some hugs. True. Also, Sophie, thank you for the 2 gifted tier 1 subs. I'll add them to the count here. We are now just 4 subs away from watching the Mandela catalog, which might be a nice change of pace from what we just talked about. I know people gave Vosh shit for his spiels about conservatives like this are ontologically evil. There's no point in making it more complicated. But these are the people he's talking about, the kinds of people that delight in the suffering of child rape victims. There's the entire anti-abortion movement right now. It must be opposed. That's, yeah. Yeah, no, true. I think it's, like, if you were in a position, right, to personally try and move a conservative over, by all means do so, right? As, like, a widespread movement, that's not particularly where I'm interested in using my energy. Or my platform. My platform isn't designed to necessarily move over conservatives. Though I have heard from people in the community who I have moved over who were conservatives. But my mission is to galvanize people to get involved in politics.
God damn it, chat. Making me boo-woo.
Salmon Moose, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. You have done it. You've brought us over the finish line. Let's go. But I'll finish talking about this a little bit. Like, I'm not going to dedicate my time to primarily moving people over. Primarily what I'm interested in is radicalizing liberals to be farther left, and also to getting things done that materially improve people's lives. I want people to be able to have health care. The fact that I know people very close to me who struggled to get coverage, who are put into, like, income traps where they're like, well, if I make too much money, I can't have health care. And if I don't make enough money, well, then I'm fucked and everything else. Like, the fact that is a common situation in the United States should be sickening to anyone, right? That's something we can do something about. We can do something about homeless people. We can do something about unfair treatment of workers. We can do something about all these things. We just need the political will to do it. And I want you all to know we can have that. That is something we can do. And I want people to know they have way more power than they give themselves credit for. Like, one person doing organizing, one person doing door knocking can literally make or break an election in a lot of places in the United States. And every single one of us who watches this stream, whether live or when I'm offline, you can be that person. Yeah, literally, Sophie. Conservatives are so scared of people who are up and coming, who have an awareness of how fucked this system has made them. They're scared. So scared they want to rob you of your ability to vote. So, that's primarily where my activism and my efforts are oriented to. I got to go after that segment. I have to reset myself. That makes total sense, Natalie Lush. I think though, before you go, you asked me a question about working with conservatives on certain things, and I think that yes, you can work with conservatives on certain things. The important thing is not to make meaningful concessions to them. You know, like if working with a conservative on Medicare for all means that like not everyone's going to be covered, or that the coverage is going to be substandard. You didn't ask it. Well, somebody did. You then feel free to go. You are excused. Um, but if that's the case, right? Like then yeah, you need to do everything and anything you can. And if that means working with conservatives, then so be it, you know? Um in the group on working for contraceptive rights that I'm working with, a conservative we have a conservative that recently joined. And you know what? He's going to fight for the right to for people to have contraception. And that being the case, I am all on board with that. That is fine. That is good, in fact. Because we need as many people as possible coming out and helping to make that happen. You know? Exactly, don't uwu my OO. Based. And I absolutely don't agree with him on many, 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 many things. But on this, they're willing to work with me. And so, on this, I will work with them. Because we aren't in a position to be picky about who we work with. Because that's honestly a position born of privilege. And we don't have the luxury of faffing about with like, oh, but I don't I don't like them very much. We don't have that luxury. Okay? The planet's dying. We need to get stuff done. People are dying. They need healthcare. So, at the end of the day, you know, you work with what you got. You work with the tools you have. There are still some conservatives that care more about personal freedoms than pointless culture bullshit. True. All right, folks, are you guys ready to watch some spooky stuff? Some spooky, scary stuff? When it comes to fighting wars, you need to be willing to work alongside the very enemy themselves if it accomplishes the end goal. It's not an easy position to take and requires an insane amount of restraint. Absolutely. Spoopy stuff? Let's go. Let's go. Act 2. Oh, are we losing connection again? We good? Did we drop some frames? Your next few shows are going to be bangers because shit is fucked up today. Yeah, it's so fucked up. So fucked up. All right. I'm gonna change into something a little bit more snuggly because last night I had to hide behind a blanket. I'm gonna go do that, and then I'll give you guys a recap on Act 1 of the Mandela Catalog. Did you see the chess story? I saw it, and frankly, like as a trans person, I was just kind of like a fucking course, and then I just moved on with my day. It was just so dumb. I just feel so fucking bad for people. That shit is foul. It at a certain point, as like a trans person, like, dude, it gets so much that you're just kind of like, oh, they only want to ban us from chess. I mean, okay. You know, like, all right. I mean, at least they don't want to like kill us openly. At least they aren't passing legislation to put us in the camps. To have whole states you can't live in anymore. Yeah, we need like safety maps. I know that there are people moving. I'm not gonna name names or anything, but like there are people in this community who are literally moving across the country to be safe. Exactly, gay fesh. Okay. So, spoopy time. All right. Reset. So, in the Mandela catalog, season 1 or act 1, we learned that very likely Jesus in this alternate world, Jesus Christ was replaced by some sort of demonic figure, if not Satan himself. And that in turn, for the last couple thousand years, Satan has been going around the earth